Tuesday, the 25th day of July 2023. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. Our top stories tonight. President Museveni and ANC delegation discuss African Common Market. Government discussing with the National Association of Broadcasters over government adverts. LC 1 and 2 term of office awakens gaps in the law. And in sports, CAF inspectors tour AFCON 2027 potential hosts. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has met with directors of bridging schools led by Ugandan ambassador to Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg and the European Union, Miriam Black, to discuss the need for increased investments in Africa's process manufacturing sector. During the meeting at State House Entebbe, President Museveni urged Western companies to focus on investing in process manufacturing within Africa instead of solely relying on raw material imports. Accompanied by delegates including Professor Tanko Mamadou, the President and CEO of Bridging Foundation, Marie Adelaide Mathey, a Belgian diplomat in New York, the Minister of State for Higher Education, Dr. Jesse Muyingo, and Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education and Sports, Keti Lamaro, President Museveni was briefed on the ongoing developments in Uganda's educational and healthcare sectors. Under an agreement signed in April 2022, the Bridging Foundation committed to provide a generous grant of $500 million to the Ugandan government. The grant would establish 4 high-tech higher education centers in the country. Now, this initiative aligns with the Ugandan government's commitment dating back to 2003 to host the Secretariat of the Regional Universities Forum for Capacity Building in Agriculture and provide essential protocol support. President Museveni emphasized the need for Western countries to invest in Africa's process manufacturing sector, which has the potential to propel the continent's economic growth and development.
Formula: Europe must stop buying raw materials from Africa. The region should take this one up. Those Jews who are clever. for knowing that when they invest here, it's good for Europe, it's good for us. Good. That's what we have been telling them.
It is a time that Bridging Foundation has to do the selection of the international companies that are being trusted and are being capable of actually implementing the projects that they are going to deliver into Uganda. And that process of selection of the companies takes a bit of time because there are all sorts of processes. I'll come back to that. And then eventually, once that has been done, there will be the availability of the funds that is going to be delivered to Uganda. Nothing will have to be provided from our annual budget. It will still be all paid for by the Bridging Foundation. And the projects are going to be managed by one of the, what they call the Big Four. That is KPMG, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. So those will be selected for each project to be able to do the management, because Bridging Foundation is not going to do the management here themselves. They will actually contract that out to those Big Four.
Since the signing of the agreement in on April 12th last year, Forum has been engaging with the Ugandan universities to be ready for these projects. We visited Mbarara University of Science and Technology.
Now, the government of Uganda is currently discussing with the National Association of Broadcasters to address concerns arising from the presidential directive requiring all government agencies to advertise exclusively through Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, which is a public broadcaster. Now, Ivan Kahwa reports that the initial threat of a boycott on government activities appears to be facing challenges as journalists still cover public functions. Take a watch.
In response to the private media boycott orchestrated by the National Association of Broadcasters arising from the presidential directive to have all government advertisements made exclusively through Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Minister for ICT and National Guidance Dr. Baryomunsi has emphasized that government has the discretion to choose which media outlets to advertise with.
First, if I have an advert, you can't force me to give it to you, but we can discuss and see how we can work together like we have always worked.
Thus, the private media houses seem to have misinterpreted the letter, believing that they were being excluded from government advertisements. However, there are ongoing discussions between the government and private media.
I don't think it is a sign of wisdom to be discussing something and then you start using blackmail, that you boycott the functions of government. Unless they also say we should boycott the discussions which we are having.
The boycott, which initially gained momentum among private media journalists, eventually led to a dedicated and substantial team ensuring comprehensive coverage of Dr. Baryomunsi's crucial address on recent cabinet decisions.
How do we support UBC, but at the same time we accommodate and address the interests of the private media, which interests include economic and financial interests.
UBC, with its 4 television stations and 11 radio stations spread throughout Uganda and catering to diverse audiences, is seen as the logical choice for government advertisements. Supporting UBC helps it uphold its legal mandate and obligations. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Kampala.
Now, Parliament has not received the statutory instrument on the extension of term of office of the local council 1 and 2. Now, even after the cabinet resolution okays the extension of the term of office of administrative units, the paperwork will delay the parliamentary sittings, which were adjourned Sunday last week. The Attorney General, Chiriwa Chiwanuka, has assured Parliament that the subordinate legislation will be availed soonest.
Honourable members, before
Parliament plenary sessions will have to wait until government avails statutory instruments paving way for the extension of term of office of the administrative units.
By the time of this interview, Parliament has not yet received, neither the clerk by the time of this interview.
Last week, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, adjourned Parliament sine die or without any future date designated to enable government take action on the administrative unit's term of office.
We think there are some games that are being played, and that's why the administrative units elections have not yet been conducted. We are not comfortable with the position of the Attorney General that government wasn't prepared, government is not ready, and we are not comfortable that they are seeking an extension. But nonetheless, we have no choice because the term has already expired. So what we shall do is we are waiting for their document to be availed to us, and then we look through it.
Cabinet resolved to alter an Act of Parliament empowering the Minister for Local Government to extend the term of office of the LOC 1 and 2 respectively, which ended on July 10th.
But we are saying that the Minister may, by notice in the Gazette and a newspaper of national circulation or other media, with the approval of Cabinet, extend, renew, reinstate or validate the term of office of the administrative units.
But this time, the law will be implemented retrospectively.
We've used it quite severally. We've used it severally in many legislation. I can share many where we've used them, even where we were in the know. The only difference here is that this one involves elections. I think that's the first time we are doing that.
The Attorney General, Chirowa Chiwanuka, appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs to defend the justification for the extension.
Because it's clear that the Local Government Act is silent on anything to do with extension of a term of office for administrative units. So we'll look at it and then come up with our position. But the bottom line is the government needs to stop dilly-dallying.
So we are satisfied with the legal part, but for the financial part, we are waiting for the Honorable Minister for Finance, who we shall end up seeing on Thursday.
Attorney General Chirowa Chiwanuka says an approach to avoid future similar situation has also been extensively addressed. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
The Uganda National Council for Science and Technology is collaborating with regional, international universities and research institutes to implement a 3-year project to strengthen regulation on clinical trials. The Assistant Executive Secretary, Uganda National Council for Science and Technology, Dr. Helen Opolot, says the project establishes research ethics committees at national referral hospitals.
With the increasing disease outbreaks, there is need to develop safe and sustainable treatment interventions. For the development of new drugs and vaccine candidates, clinical trials are employed to assess their safety and efficacy. Uganda National Council for Science and Technology is collaborating with regional, international universities and research institutes to strengthen regulation on clinical trials.
So this project has come at a time when the country needs a research integrity framework, which most institutions don't have. UNCST has come to realize that there is so much plagiarism, falsification in publications, and this has been a very concern for our researchers in the country.
A 3-year project strengthening ethics and respectable conduct of clinical trials in East and Sub-Saharan Africa has been launched.
We need to work regionally as a group to be able to improve our function of regulation in clinical research. How does it help? It helps because when we can create platforms that allow all of us to do good research, and a lot of our research for health challenges are similar across the different countries. We all have problems with HIV, we all have concerns about malaria, we all have problems that involve issues of reproductive health. And so when we work together, we can learn lessons from each other that help all of us be able to do better.
Because it will put East African countries on the world map for research integrity and research ethics and strengthening the quality of research coming out of this region.
The project will build capacity and establish research ethics committees at national referral hospitals, establish a research integrity code of conduct, and an open data access platform for clinical trials. Adia Nakote, UBC.
The Cabinet Subcommittee on Minerals Development, led by Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa, has commenced a tour of the eastern region to assess compliance with the government's regulation on the export of unprocessed mineral resources. Nankabirwa, accompanied by Jacob Oboth and Peter Lokeris, started the inspection in Tororo and Manafwa districts.
Their first stop was at the Toro Cement Industries, where they engaged in a constructive dialogue with the factory heads to provide updates on the government's stance regarding mineral resource exportation.
Thank you, Toro Cement, for being one of the largest taxpayers also. And I think I want to ask you people to appreciate them. They make money but also pay tax.
We want to thank you for the contribution that you are doing to the economy of this country in terms of, job creation, the taxes that you pay, we appreciate.
Following the meeting, the committee embarked on a tour of the factory to witness ongoing expansion activities aimed at increasing clinker production, a vital component in cement manufacturing.
We've come here to see how they are adding value, and we will be proceeding to those who are stranded, who used to export semi-processed minerals, but because of the ban that was put, they are no longer exporting.
The team later visited Simba and Hema cement factories, each producing 5,000 and 2,500 tons of cement daily. Investors expressed their concerns about the challenges of finding market for their products and the impact of fluctuating fuel prices on transportation costs.
So it really eats us so hard, and probably the minister will help us on that.
Addressing the investors' concerns, Dr. Ruth Nankabira assured them that the government would take swift action to address these issues.
Once we pull power from Karuma to Tororo, that is going to be a 220 kV line, I think. 400 kV line from Karuma substation to Tororo. That is going to see power stability in this region.
The tour will continue in Manafa district, and the team is expected to proceed to Busia district tomorrow.
Minister of State for Primary Health Care, Margaret Muhanga, has launched Uganda's Public Health Fellowship Program, a laboratory leadership track. The program enhances leadership skills among lab technicians and specialists for improved healthcare facilities. During the event, the minister stressed effective healthcare leadership to avoid underperforming hospitals.
Minister of State for Health in charge of primary health care, Margaret Muhanga, has launched Uganda's Public Health Fellowship Program, Laboratory Leadership Track. Muhanga highlighted the need for healthcare workers to be trained in technical expertise and leadership.
So as laboratories, we ask people to test early enough so that we can have diseases prevented. Apart from prevention, we also need detection. Early detection helps fight the disease and also gives early response to these infectious diseases. Remember, in Uganda, we are fighting 75% of our disease burden.
The minister was concerned over fake DNA tests and urged professionals to uphold integrity for accuracy.
I think maybe some of the DNA tests could have been fake. I really believe so, because I helped a person do a DNA test some years ago of a child who really looked like him, but he was under stress of the family. And the results were negative, that this was not his child. So I suspected maybe some people want to run away from responsibility. And so they would twist these results.
The Laboratory Leadership Program is a 2-year Uganda Public Health Fellowship for master's level healthcare professionals in laboratory-related fields.
So I'm happy that this program has finally taken off and that we have a focus on the critical competencies that are needed for us to be able to provide good leadership for this important sector. We need technical skills, yes, and that has been the emphasis for much of the training in health for a long time. But we've forgotten that most of the challenges we face and the failures that we experience are because of leadership. It's leadership. Almost everything that we struggle with, you can ask as many questions and get as many answers. We shall call it systems, we shall call it many things, we shall call it money, but it boils down to leadership.
Director General of Health Services in the Ministry of Health, Henry Mwebesa, highlights program launch will bolster healthcare with skilled leaders.
But we cannot overemphasize the role of leadership in the laboratories. For instance, if you get the results, as a leader you need to know, how do I need to communicate these results? Who needs to receive these results? You don't go there and test Ebola, and then you are throwing it in the social media. Oh, Ebola in Kasanda. You need some leadership skills to know who should receive these results, how should they be communicated, and where.
Ms. Kim Lewis of the Association of Public Health Laboratories praised Uganda's collaboration in creating the Global Laboratory Leadership Program.
The GLLP seeks to foster current and emerging laboratory leaders and mentor them as they build, strengthen, and sustain national laboratory systems.
Uganda targets better response to health challenges and epidemics. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Ministry of Education and Sports will support skills and technology-driven curricula that emphasizes quality at all education levels. The Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Katie Lamaro, in her speech read by the Director of Basic Education Ismail Mulindwa, emphasizes enhancing employability prospects of all Ugandans. This was during the event to mark 50 years of the National Curriculum Development Center at Kyambogo.
Ministry of Education and Sports says Uganda's education is on course to have curricula at all education levels, including technical and vocational training institutions. The Director of Basic Education, Ismail Mulindwa, who represented the Permanent Secretary on the event to mark 50 years of National Curriculum Development Center, says all education programs are tailored to suit a skills-driven and competent-based era.
Let me extend my warmest congratulations to management and staff of NCDC on this memorable occasion, as well as my sincere gratitude to the present and former directors for this remarkable success. In order to secure the future of our country, the government has invested in the human capital to ensure one, a well-educated and skilled human resource. We recognize that as we talk, they have already reviewed the lower secondary curriculum, which is ongoing. Currently, the review of A-level curricula is ongoing to align and make it competence-based too. In addition, the BTVET curricula has been reviewed by looking at options of strengthening technical and vocational education and training so as to provide demand-driven skills under the term of skilling Uganda.
National Curriculum Development Center appealed to teachers to implement the lower secondary curriculum in order to harness its full potential among learners.
One of them has been revising the curriculum regularly to align it with expectations of the world. The other one has been improving the working environment, the ambience, improving the status quo of how we are, and of course the recruitment of more staff. Because we were working at a very miserable 25% at some point, moved on to 30%, but now we are talking of 60% staff. The curriculum that we designed for lower secondary curriculum has a lot of similarities with the curriculum you find in the US, in America, in whatever. How I wish it could be implemented in its entirety and in the manner in which we want.
For the last 50 years, National Curriculum Development Center has been at the heart of Uganda's education system, nurturing, designing and developing quality curriculum that will leave a significant trail towards a brighter future. Crispus Arinitwe, UBC News.
Thanks, Crispus Arinitwe, for that story there. Now, National Children's Authority wants government to provide armed police and support schools with CCTV cameras for special security, while schools must ban parents from taking cooked food to students. Now, this follows National Children's Authority's visit to Nakanyonyi Senior Secondary School in Mukono District following alleged poisoning of students recently.
Last week, more than 100 students of Nakanyonyi Senior Secondary School in Mukono were allegedly poisoned, although the cause of the students' fall is still questionable.
The situation is now calm. I've come here as National Children's Authority and we have assessed that children are now back officially at school. For those who have not yet reported, we are calling upon parents out there in Nachifuma, in Nakanyonyi area, in Mukono district as a whole, even those who come out of the district, this school, let the children report back, because this time children are almost going for mocks.
National Children's Authority, Martin Chiza, proposed that government should provide police to guide their schools, as school authorities ban parents from carrying cooked food to school.
In that, one of the issues is we discourage the issue of bringing cooked food, actually food, but particularly cooked food to schools, because you never know the thinking of somebody coming in with cooked food. So especially on visitation days, food must be consumed within the school food that is prepared by the school itself. But bringing food from outside should be discouraged, if not stopped.
The head teacher of the school, Balonga Moses, said hospitals are still holding students due to overdraft bills, but asked the Ministry of Education and Health to intervene.
We also pray that you get back to your mode of studies. Get your mode of studies, because we are soon coming back we are soon going in for mocks. Please settle down and focus again on academics.
We are saying most of our schools here have these armed security guards who have batons, bows and arrows. No, we are saying that we need to have people with firearms. Yeah. So that someone will not even come, by the way. They will know that, oh, these guys are very armed.
Deborah Namamonde, Stephen Kayumba, UBC News.
These days, our homes are no longer just the places we live. It's where we attend meetings, go to class, keep each other safe, and entertain ourselves. To do this smoothly, you need a reliable internet connection. Buy the MTN WakaNet router, which connects up to 32 devices, and get a free 40 GB data bundle at only 149,000 shillings. Or buy the MTN WakaNet MiFi at only 75,000 shillings and enjoy a free 15 GB bundle to stream, study, work, and play on the go. Visit any MTN service center to buy the MTN WakaNet router or MiFi and enjoy the internet that does amazing things.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mood Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. His reason is to be the GOAT. The reason to imagine is to take the beat and make it lit. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
The drilling of development and production wells for the Kingfisher project in Kikube district started in January 2023. While the delivery and assembly of the 3 drilling rigs for the Tilenga project is ongoing. Enabling infrastructure works for the other required facilities, including the central processing facilities, well pads, flow lines and camps, remain on course. The produced resources will be commercialized via the East Africa crude oil pipeline, which will run from Uganda to Tanzania, and the 60,000 barrels of oil per day Uganda refinery project, which will be constructed in Hoima. These projects are bringing investment of $15 billion into the country. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Dear Airtel customer, we know that there are days when unexpected stays in hospital stand in the way of your family's welfare. That is why Hospital Center is here to give you up to 100,000 shillings every night you spend in hospital. Hospital Center also offers up to 4 million in funeral benefit. Dial star 185 star 7 star 6 hash to purchase Hospital Center on Airtel Money for as little as 1,000, 3,000 or 5,000 shillings a month. Your cover for the first 1 month is free. Hospital Center is underwritten by Prudential and powered by Turaco. Prudential and Turaco are regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda. Airtel Money is regulated by the Bank of Uganda.
Introducing the Infinix Note 30 series in partnership with Airtel Uganda, a smartphone where style meets functionality. Take charge of the day with special features like the 108MP triple camera and 68 watts fast charge, and the best part is you can use this phone to charge other phones. You also will enjoy free 3GB from Airtel every month for 3 months on each new device purchased. Dial star 100 hash, select data and devices to get your free data. The Infinix Note 30 series Spark, a connection in partnership with Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Welcome back from that break, and this is our second and final edition of News Tonight, this Tuesday, the 25th day of July 2023, here on UBC TV. Moving on now, beneficiaries of Sage and Nati Cash in West Nile are calling for increment of the monies they get as a grant from the government. Now, these beneficiaries say prices of commodities have increased, hence making the cost of living very, very high. Now, this was during a visit by the Parliamentary Forum on Social Protection in the districts of Koboko and Terego.
Elders, lactating mothers and direct beneficiaries of the Development Response to Displacement Impact Project, Dr. Deep Grants, say this money is important for them because it has enhanced their standards of living. Distant pay points, faulted identity card from NIRA are the main challenges the elderly face while getting their Sage money. Musa Yangu is an elder from Lobile Parish in Koboko district, benefiting from social assistance grants for empowerment Sage scheme.
This Sage money, it will help me once I don't have food to eat. Use the money for buying medicine. Actually 25. Actually it's not enough.
Nutricas is a component of the Child Sensitive Protection Program implemented in the refugee hosting districts of Uganda.
This money can help a lot to look after our kids. I can balance my diet at home.
Aja ura the first man send rarujo aja ma u ili akugarachi sasa mvape akugarachi.
Mine is just a cry that if at all there is another one to be added on top of that 33.
Ikitaba amani azini badina muke aruskuni ngoti sendra kalina digada micho afazedu ueni garra.
Chairperson for Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Social Protection, Flavia Kabahenda, explains the outcome of their trip.
We are glad that at each phase, each intervention seems to have more achievements than challenges, because Sage's achievements are recorded everywhere, that the older persons today can make a choice on what to do with money. But the challenges they have are the distant pay points. They have now a big challenge with national identity cards, which is a requirement. Some of them IDs are faulted by age, by name, and so they have to do those corrections which require money. And then when we went for Dr. Deep has done a great job in the refugee hosting districts, where even mine is, to integrate. Actually, all their programs you can see, the biggest achievement we get is the integration between the nationals and the refugees. And so, as members of parliament, we are going to write a report, present it to the Committee on Gender, Labour and Social Development for correct interventions, advising government on what best to do, and of course our partners, to encourage them to synergize, because we cannot be detached.
On the cries of beneficiaries of SAGE and Nyotukash about increment of the monthly monies, Kabahenda said the government is in progress of raising the 25,000 shillings for elders to 30,000 shillings.
Parliament already pronounced itself on lowering the age of eligibility for older persons from 80 back to 65. It's on record. We also pronounced ourselves on raising that money from 25 to 30, and it's on record. So we are waiting for Ministry of Finance to get the money, and then we take what the Parliament pronounced itself upon.
Terego District Chairman Wilfred Saka is requesting Government of Uganda to have deeper talks with the World Bank in extension of the project with a 100% grant, not in form of a loan.
I went for this conference called the IGAD, East African Community High-Level Interministerial Conference, which was in Kampala, on durable solutions for refugees. Already they are saying they have $350 million available. But this time the condition will change. They would want 50% to be grant, 50% a loan. But my question is, refugees are not producing anything. They are consuming. Where shall we get money for paying the interest for that loan? As we host refugees, it is not Christmas. There is a lot of damage that has been done. Trees, if you stand at Mvepi, you are able to see 5 kilometers without even seeing a tree. And this cannot be fixed with a loan. It can be fixed with a grant.
To Kamwenge District now, where Kamwenge District RDC Isaiah Kanyanahani has urged parents to embrace vocational education in order for their children to fit in the competitive world. Mr. Kanyanahani was visiting schools in Kamwenge District to assess the progress of the new curriculum of vocational education in secondary schools in this area.
Kamwenge District schools have embraced vocational training in implementing the new education curriculum program that equips students with hands-on skills. Kamwenge District RDC Isaiah Kanyanahani inspected schools to assess how they have adopted the new curriculum.
For young ones with skills is the way to go, because these are the people who can employ themselves and employ the other Ugandans. And we are always crying for employment opportunities, and yet we have gotten the knowledge to employ ourselves. We must use the knowledge we acquire from institutions to employ ourselves, employ our young ones. That's how we can do it in partnership with government. But what government creates an enabling environment. It gives you skills, it empowers you, the rest will follow.
Kanyanahani started with Kamwenge Vocational and Secondary School. Here students were found weaving, while others were in construction, farming among others.
Parents prefer taking their students for higher levels, universities, and ignoring or abandoning the skills. But experience has proved that the economy in this country has been sustained by skills. These ones that train in hands-on skills, they are the ones that are sustaining in the economy. If you go to Katwe, if you go all over, carpentry, tailoring, welding, these are the people that are empowering or sustaining the economy. So I'm taking a student for A level, and yet you can't sustain him to the university education. You would rather take shortcut, empower the student with skills, employs himself, and then when he needs to go for further studies, he can pursue it on his own.
The director Kamwenge Vocational and Secondary School, Reverend Kanoni John Mulindabigwo, urged school ed teachers to embrace the new curriculum.
Now that idea or that ideology is getting away, because everyone now is realizing that it's not only by sitting and doing things that can make things, but things are changing. So we felt when we were beginning this institution of Kamwenge Secondary and Vocational School to be more hands-on than reading and writing or keeping history in the mind, but keeping history on how people can survive. So our main mission in Kamwenge or in this region, can somebody have a food on plate? Can somebody by the end of the day have where to sleep? Can somebody have a firewood? Can somebody have something to sell and get money to take his children or her children to school? Can somebody get money to buy a dress?
Students hailed government for the new initiative. Deborah Namamonde, Ivan Juko, UBC News.
We'll now take yet another short break and return with the latest in business.
Uganda waranchi bakusako manrane chikona tena tekobo seko season yakuna savu July kuma mal papas hall usasule kwa MTN mobile money usasule kuma chitundu MTN usasule nega kometano iga stemu kagatano stamu enda munana hasha kwa MTN ofune tiketi yokati wabula kumulyango usasule mitwale ebiri yepe mitwale tano ate meza ya milioni 2 munana July kodi ni hotel mkono mwenda July ni can resort elweza 15 July France Africa Jinja abiri mbili July Maria Flema Saka abiri mwenda July Afro Club Eka Sangati ate yoyo noku yingira mutwalo wafujinidwa musente Talent Africa Victoria University Suzu Property Consultants Pepsi Max Uganda Warranty ne
MTN. Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Multi Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
The biggest, the baddest East African Christian Marathon is here. Come participate at the East African Christian Marathon for a prayer run on the 13th of August 2023 at the Lugogo Hockey Grounds. Come represent your family at the prayer run and run for a good cause to build the first call center, which will be East Africa's virtual listener. Come for the prayer run alongside your pastors, leaders, representatives from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and of course Uganda. Participate with Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, who is the chief runner and patron. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Make your donation for your kid now from 20,000, 30,000 and 100,000 Uganda shillings, because runs change the world. For more details, call 0781 885 055 or visit our website at www.eastafricachristianmarathon.org. Proudly sponsored by PKF, UBC, Venro Health, Aquafina, and Moving Preacher.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. Uganda will host the high-level East African Business and Investment Summit starting on the 31st of August to the 1st of September 2023. Now, the summit aims to boost business opportunities between the East African region and the rest of Africa. State Minister for East African Affairs, James Magode Ikuya, says the summit will run under the theme Private Sector-Driven Intervention for Increased Intra-African Trade and Investment.
The East African community states still face trade-related barriers among member states, which also affects the smooth running of trade across the region. The State Minister for East African Affairs, James Magode Ikuya, who represented the Minister for East African Affairs, Rebecca Kadaka, says there is a need for public and private sector dialogues to spur economic integration.
We are here today to emphasize the importance of public-private dialogue in shaping a conducive business environment that ultimately leads to prosperity for our region, which is private sector-driven regional integration for increased intra-African trade and investment, underscores the vital role of the private sector in driving economic growth and fostering deeper regional ties.
The summit will front both women and youth to target inclusive and sustainable business environment in Africa.
Indeed, women and youth in business, as the continent's current development agenda is strongly anchored on women and youth to drive the Africa we want. The African we want that is inclusive and sustainable is the Africa that aspires to ensure that the youth are able to get decent jobs. They are able to drive the growth, not to be left behind in the abject poverty.
The East African Business and Investment Summit starts 31st August and ends 1st September. Marion Awori and Stephen Kalisia.
Mandela Group of Companies has continued to underline itself as one that cares for the general well-being of Ugandans. John Sentamo gives us more on that story.
In China and Indonesia.
As the world makes strides in technology, Uganda, through agencies like Mandela Group of Companies, isn't left behind. The company's latest involvement is through a raffle that will enable 2 Ugandans win the much-fancied electric cars. The electric car that is good for environmental conservation is a brainchild of Mandela Group of Companies partners, Linglong.
From today we are running a promo which will end in December for the lucky winners for these electric vehicles. And the promo is very simple. You just buy 2 Linglong tires of any segment plus wheel alignment and you're eligible to enter the draw.
Relatedly, Linglong administrators have advised Ugandans on the dangers of fake imported tires allegedly from Dubai that have hit the market and caused accidents.
Actually, this action not only in Uganda but also other African countries. So from our side, we think this is very unfair to our official leaders in every countries. So we will totally not admit such actions, and we will try our best to maintain our official leaders' rights.
The company executives confirmed that their Linglong brand in Uganda is only delivered by Mandela Group of Companies.
Now, the former Defense Minister, Dr. Crispus Kiyonga, has tipped all coffee farmers in Kasese district on proper methods of farming if they are to fetch good prices. He also advised farmers to stop selling fresh coffee to the middlemen.
So this coming season, those who still have land, plant more. But be careful about the seedlings. Which seedlings are you planting?
Kiyonga, who is also the NRM chairperson for Kasese district, advised the coffee farmers to utilize the extension workers at all levels on how best they can improve their coffee yields.
Selling fresh coffee. Locally here it is called Selise. Those people who come to buy red, they buy Selise. There are people who call Ngalia Bihire. They eat what is ready. But they cheat you. You use the farmer. Why are you selling fresh coffee? Process it yourself. Even drying the way we dry is very tedious. For about 2 months you are drying coffee.
However, Grace Kisuki, a coffee farmer on a small scale in Bwera sub-county, Bukonzo County West constituency, requested government to intervene on pests and diseases that have invaded and destroyed their coffee trees.
Kandi ekwabyo wondo natandika rebya kayo mera kwasangane chiti nacho shomweni nabirioma kwobuka tuteshe nguma ewasanga neshengume shoshoshi isimuli mwenye.
Sports news now, and we begin with basketball, where 12 Gazelle players were flagged off this morning to Kigali, Rwanda, where they will be representing Uganda in the 2023 FIBA Women Afro Basketball Finals that will happen in Rwanda from the 28th of July to the 6th of August 2023. The flag-off was at Onomo Hotel here in Kampala.
Players Janan Oto, Evelyn Nachinji, Flavia Okecho, Brenda Ekon, Priscilla Abe, Lydia Babidi, Mariana Juma are among the 12 Gazelle squad heading to Rwanda for the 2023 FIBA Women Afro-Basket Finals.
I think we're pretty well prepared. We've been training together for about 2 weeks now, so that's been really good. We've been able to kind of get to know each other, and I think we're all really excited to play in the tournament and play against some great competition.
Well, technically I think we're in a good point actually, because we kept half of the team that represent Uganda in the last qualifiers. At the same time we are adding some new pieces from college, or they are playing abroad, but technically we've been able to develop a little bit deeper. We have like more deep offensive situation, and at the same time we get some extra physicality with these new girls. So I think we're going to Kigali like well prepared and ready to compete. Prove that we are not there just for fun. We are there because we want to compete and we want to keep building this team for the next years.
The chairman of the National Council of Sports, Ambrose Tashobia, flagged off the team this morning at the Onomo Hotel in Kampala.
As you go out, go and compete, show the best character possible, and above all, maximize the opportunity, give 100%. Once you leave it all on the floor, as an individual, but also collectively as a team, then the country will embrace what you have given. It's been a journey of great work, both on the federation side, but most importantly, on the side of the players, that we have built this project together over the years. You have done yourselves great, and you have made our country proud.
Uganda is making a return to the tournament after a 9-year hiatus and will have to win at least 2 of its group games to proceed to the quarterfinals. Uganda is grouped with Mali and Senegal and will tip off her campaign on the 29th of July 2023 against Mali. The FIBA Women Afro-Basket Finals 2023 will run from the 28th of July to the 6th of August 2023 at the BK Arena in Kigali, Rwanda. Grace Joyce Kemgisa, UBC News.
Motor Rally now, and Masaka, Chotera and Kalisizo are bracing for the 5th round of the National Rally Championship that is due between the 11th and 13th of August this year. The clerk of the course, Jared Kalera, confirms that it will cover 267 kilometers with several stages, including Chida to Kabonera to Kakondo, and Buyambi to Kamagwa. He also expects all the nation's top drivers to be a part of this rally that will contribute immensely to the national rally standings.
Very important issue is the issue of safety. Safety has become a very, very big component of the sport. In fact, the biggest portion of our budget goes to safety. Because the routes in some areas go through small villages and small towns, we have designed a route in conjunction with Uganda Police and the Ministry of Works to ensure that we have areas where we slow down the cars using chicanes, but also we have begun sensitization of the people in those areas of Masaka where the event is going to pass. Good enough is that most of the marshals that we are going to use are village marshals who know about the event. We always have problems with our fans who come from Kampala, who think that they know a lot, but we are putting measures to ensure that the fans are really far away from the stages, and to avoid any issues of death or people being maimed because they're enjoying.
Cricket now, and the Uganda under-19 boys cricket team beat their Nigerian rivals by 30 runs in their second game of the ICC under-19 Men's World Cup Africa qualifiers in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
In their second tournament game played at the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, Uganda won the toss and elected to bat first, setting a score of 69 runs all out in 28 overs. In chasing, Nigeria only managed to post 39 runs in 18 overs, giving Uganda a 30 runs win.
It's a poor performance at the end of the day, but a win is a win. So things turned the other way around as unplanned. We thought we could cross 200 runs, which was not achieved. And I believe we had a lot of work in the second inning, trying to defend 71, and which yielded. But of course, we asked the boys to try and apply the skill set that was needed to defend the 70 runs, which we achieved at the end of the day. I believe if the boys can be adaptive and understand really how to play on such slow wickets, because that is the only problem. We need to adapt a certain kind of game, which is a constructive game. You don't need to hit the ball all the time, which I believe going forward we are going to try and adapt that style. It only gives us the momentum that we needed.
Uganda now has 3 points from 2 games and will have to defeat the remaining 3 opponents to top the table. The 6 countries, Sierra Leone, Kenya, Nigeria, Namibia, Uganda and host Tanzania, are all competing for one slot at the 2024 ICC Under-19 Men's World Cup in Sri Lanka. The team is back in action against Tanzania tomorrow, the 26th of July, 2023, at the Dar Gymkhana. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.
And that sports story brings us to the end of this edition. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.